What legacy would you like to leave? As part of the Legacy Society, your gift supports the future of the Iowa Catholic Radio Network. By participating in the planned giving process, you can be assured that when you leave this earth, your charitable gift will continue to support this apostolate and its mission of connecting people to Christ. If you're interested in including Iowa Catholic Radio as part of your charitable gift planning, call me, Belle Marasco, at 515-223-1150. Thank you for your prayerful support.
The Catholic Morning Show on Iowa Catholic Radio.
Remember, folks, if you miss any of our segments or the entire show, or you want to catch up with our local shows, you can go to iowacatholicradio.com on the podcast page and listen. Make sure to leave ratings on Apple or Spotify, preferably 5 stars, but, we want honest feedback. But we want to say thank you for listening to our shows, even when they're offline, when you have a chance to listen to them later. Remember to go leave reviews, and thank you once again. Let's go ahead and think about, folks. We talk about technology on this a lot. I know that maybe I have something to do with that because I know it's a research topic that I am involved in. But maybe what you don't think about is how the church and her structures, especially something like her canon law, might speak to something as in the news as issues of technology. And to talk about that, we're going to have Adam Storey on, who, of course, comes by every month to talk about canon law because he is the canon law Grand Poobah here for the Diocese of Des Moines. Adam, thanks for coming on the Catholic Morning Show.
Hey, Bo, thanks for having me.
I think that's your official title, but we'll roll with it.
That's what's on my business cards. So, yeah.
I had a chance to be in Rome and have they had a conference about technology. I think sometimes people go, oh, well, the church is really stretching to address those issues. But I think interesting enough, what you wanted to talk about today is this is relevant, that this is in some ways already pre-considered, or at least applicable to the church's canon law.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think it's something that the church speaks to, even in her legislation. And like a lot of these topics, where you kind of find it is you first find it in Book 2, when the church talks about rights and obligations and kind of how does the community interact with each other. And then as you go further into the code, specifically in Book 3, you talk about kind of the application of the canons that you find in Book 2. So, when we talk about technology and how do we use technology to engage with each other, and especially around communication, I think a canon that every Catholic should be familiar with, every Catholic should know, is Canon 212, because Canon 212, it really focuses on how do we interact with each other and how do we communicate? And specifically, it kind of puts out 3 criteria that I think are relevant for communication. They're relevant for the use of artificial intelligence. They're relevant for just how we engage technology in general. And it talks about operating from a place where we're truly knowledgeable, a place of expertise. It talks about operating always with an eye towards the common good, that this isn't just about me, but how do I watch out for, how am I attentive to the whole community? And then it talks about always use in a way that respects the dignity of persons. And, you could unpack all of these and we could spend a lot of time on all of these, but this Canon 212 really gives specifically around communication, but I think it does have broader application. These insights, these criteria for how we can do this well.
Of course, anything that you're going to do in life, you should do so within the realm of your expertise. For instance, no one wants me building a house and acting like I could do so. Towards the common good, right? That we have gifts that we share with others. And then always, like you said, that fundamentally anything we should be doing should be respecting the dignity of people. I like how you extended that to technologies beyond communication. For instance, you should drive your car respecting the dignity of other people. But I love that you're making the emphasis that for us in our day and age, communication technologies in some way is a synecdoche or a sort of an example of all other technologies because of their power and because of how much they play a role in our society. So let's go on. There are other canons that sort of talk to this social element of communication that, again, is not simply just the sum of any one technology, but as sort of a wider web of how society in general is influenced by our encounter and engagement with technologies.
Yeah, well, the law is really about ordering our activity and how do we engage these things and how do we interact with each other and how do we use these tools in those interactions. So, there's some broader scope questions that I think the code is not equipped to unpack, but what it does talk about is it has a portion of Book 3, and these are Canons 822 to 832. And it talks about instruments of social.
Oh, Adam, yeah, we're having a little bit of trouble there. 1 second there. Nope. Okay, we're having some issues, folks. So we're going to go ahead and hit the break. Unfortunately, I'm having a chance to talk with Adam Storey. I guess just to finish out some of his thought. I know that what he was talking about, I want to talk about was the instruments of social communication, being more than just social media, but how is it as a community that we communicate the gospel? How under the vigilance of course, sacred pastors, our bishops, and our priests. But how do we make sure not to detract or foster contempt for persons or the church? And I think we could probably talk an entire show about how, especially when you think about contentiousness in the church and the way that various factions begin to argue with each other, that this is not just a simple aspect of bad etiquette or being imprudent, but there is actually an aspect of church law that says that we have a duty towards human dignity, towards the community in general, and of course God himself, and then of course our dignity. So I guess I would say the takeaway is when we think about this, of course, the church law is not some authoritarian thing, like we're not trying to argue, well, you're going to be in trouble, mister, if you do X, Y, and Z. But I know that Adam Storey multiple times has pointed out that the law is there to order the community's activities towards the good, and that one way that this happens is precisely by giving us the sort of guidelines, the ideals, and the goals for which we might strive for. So if we can strive to communicate the gospel, strive to be in obedience to the sacred pastors in doing so, and then avoid detraction, fostering contempt, or in any way being disastrous of the unity that, of course, Pope Leo XIV multiple times has advocated for. The church law, as it were, is not, again, peering over us, but it's actually uplifting us, providing that foundation so we can walk in the world and its technologies and its modern reality without fear. So we want to say thank you to Adam Storey. Sorry for the technical details. He is the Lord Commandant, I believe, something like that, for Canon Law here for the Diocese of Des Moines. He joins us every month, so we want to say thank you to Adam for joining the Catholic Morning Show.
Listen to the Catholic Morning Show weekdays at 7 a.m. Central on the Iowa Catholic Radio Network, iowacatholicradio.com, or the Iowa Catholic Radio app.
What legacy would you like to leave? As part of the Legacy Society, your gift supports the future of the Iowa Catholic Radio Network. By participating in the planned giving process, you can be assured that when you leave this earth, your charitable gift will continue to support this apostolate and its mission of connecting people to Christ. If you're interested in including Iowa Catholic Radio as part of your charitable gift planning, call me, Belle Marasco, at 515-223-1150. Thank you for your prayerful support.